What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to talk about the lies that's being spoken against Trump from the mainstream media and the left. And there's a lot of lies. And as I've said, I've been a Trump supporter ever since the first day I heard his campaign of putting America first and basically fixing our economy. And like I said, those lies are extensive. The lies coming from the left just seem to never end, to never stop. I've always said that, that saying lie like a dog, it needs to be changed to lie like a leftist, because they, like I said, they have no shame whatsoever. But to these lies, the first lie that's being told against Donald Trump is that Trump is a racist. Well, because number one, he's white, male. Number two, he ran as a Republican, and add to it. And the third reason, I'm guessing, is because he means what he says, say what he means, and he doesn't back down to nobody, nothing and nobody. Add all three together, and you basically have the recipe for a racist, of course, from the left. But they're saying that he's racist because he talks about people of other race. He said derogatory things of people of other race, okay? If that's the definition of racist, well, who's not a racist? I mean, who hasn't said something derogatory about somebody of another race? I would have to say nobody. I seriously doubt there's anybody who does exist. So that pretty much minimizes the whole definition of racism, because everybody's racist. I mean, if that's the definition of racism, I'm damn sure racist, okay? But Trump is not racist. That's bullcrap. Okay, he's no more racist than anybody else. Now I'll put that to rest. Now the next lie that's being told against Trump is he hates Hispanics. Most notably because he wants to build a wall. He wants to defend the border, defend our southern border, to keep people from illegally coming to this country whenever they want to. And they say that that means he hates Mexicans, he hates Hispanics, because it's pretty much, again, most Hispanics that's south of the wall, south of our border. Now, does that equal to racism? Well, I would say if that's racism, then anyone who locks their doors and their windows, who secures the place of their person, requires keys to enter their homes, to basically enter and to start their cars. Anybody who moves in a gated community, builds a fence around their yard, and anyone who keeps all of their valuables in a bank vault is about as racist. Again, it's not racist to defend your home, your land, your property, to keep your family safe. That is not racist, and it's not racist to want to build a wall. Again, of course they're going to say it's racist because they want to make race out of everything. Again, that race Murphy's Law, it never rests. But it's not racist to defend your border. That's bullcrap. I mean, I don't see how anybody could not want to defend their border. And ask Israel, because they put walls around their country, and terrorism dropped because they made it difficult for the terrorists to get in there. Now, of course, it's going to take more than just a wall. It's going to take a wall. It's going to take Border Patrol agents, and I would love to see some electronic type of security. But we have to defend our borders, and that's not racist, right? The next thing is the reason why they say he hates Hispanics is because he quote unquote said that all Mexicans are rapists. Of course, he never said that. Of course, he just spoke the fact, the statistical data showing that there's a lot of rape amongst illegal aliens. And I've seen studies that have shown that as much as 80% of the women who take that trek to come to America, basically 80% of women gets raped. Now that's you talk about a rape culture. They cry about a rape culture in America. That's the damn rape culture right there. Yet Donald Trump is racist because he speaks on it. And it never seems to amaze me how, the actual act itself is not racist. But if anyone speaks on that, that's racism. Again, it is a fact that there's a lot of rape amongst illegal aliens. He just simply said that. Again, not racist. The next reason why they say he hates Hispanics is because he supposedly said that basically Hispanics and Mexicans are animals. Of course, that's the mainstream media interpretation of everything because they're going to make everything seem that Trump is evil, racist, bad person. But in reality, what he really said was MS-13 are a bunch of animals. And, well, they are. And I would love for anyone to say that they're not a bunch of animals. I mean, look at the acts that these people do. I mean, just do some research into what they do to people in Mexico. I mean, there are a bunch of animals. And I even hear, again, I've heard this to say that there's also a lot of occultic satanism amongst the MS-13 members. But regardless of that, there are a bunch of animals. You don't get much animal than that looking at what these people do. Now, the next slide that's being told against Trump is Trump hates black people. And there's pretty much three reasons why they say Trump hates black people. The first reason is because of this whole, remember the housing situation that happened at these apartment complexes or whatever that his father owned back in the late 60s, early 70s. Well, supposedly Donald Trump himself personally went down to this apartment complex, wherever it was, and told the workers there not to lease to black tenants, right? And it was all Donald Trump, of course. Now, the end result was they settled out of court on this, and it was a no fault settlement. And of course, nothing new. They assumed no fault in this. Trump and his father, the family, they assumed no fault. They just settled out of court, like businesses always do, because you don't need to have any type of nonsense litigation hanging over you that's going to get in the way of you, well, doing whatever you're in the business to do. They're not in business to litigate. They were in business to rent out units to tenants. So they settled out of court, but it was no fault. They assumed no fault in this. Now, some people would say, well, why would they settle out of court if they weren't guilty? But then you can also ask, then why did the people who sued them settle out of court if they were guilty? It goes both ways. But again, it was a no-fault settlement. They assumed no fault in it. Now, the second reason why people say that Trump hates black people is because of the Central Park fire. Now, this was a situation in which five young black males who were wrongfully accused of violently raping a white female in Central Park in New York. Now, all of them received sentencing, and of course, they were commended because it was found that they were not guilty and they were innocent of it. But after the sentencing and they received time, Trump put an ad in the paper calling for the death penalty. So therefore, he's racist. Of course, it doesn't make any sense because, to my knowledge, and again, if I'm wrong, then people show me the evidence to prove it. But to my knowledge, the only time that the capital punishment is administered is if it results in someone dying. The woman was near death, but she didn't die. So how would the death penalty be administered anyway? It wouldn't. So that makes the whole ad nonsense. Plus, if Trump is racist because he put that ad in the paper, then aren't all the black people who accused the Duke lacrosse team who were innocent, aren't they also racist? And they went hard on them. I mean, they're calling them a bunch of rich frat boys, privileged, even though they don't know any of them guys, but they're called rich and privileged, and they were innocent. And it was the same thing with the whole, remember, Toronto brawler situation. Is Al Sharpton racist for going after those cops who were wrongfully accused of something that they didn't do? I would say so. If Trump is racist because of the ad in the paper, then all these blacks are also just as racist. Now, the third excuse that they use to say that Trump hates black people is the whole birther situation. Now, the birther movement was started with the Clintons. And back in 2008, when Clinton was the second front runner against Barack Obama. Now, when Barack Obama looked to be the front runner, then they dropped it and they kind of buried it under the rug, as you sort of see. Well, Trump saw this, took the mantle up, researched it, and like I say, again, seeing if Barack Obama was capable of serving as president. Was he qualified and meet the qualifications to serve as president? He did the research. He came out and said, we saw the research. There's nothing there. We putting it to rest. So he did come out and put it to rest. Well, they say he's racist because of the birthday movie, right? Even though it was Hillary Clinton's camp that started it, he just picked it up and found that basically done the research, found that there was nothing there and put it to rest. So how is that racist to check to see if someone is fit to stand as a president? Because I guarantee you, if there was question of that Trump was able or fit to stand as president, I guarantee you the left we wouldn't hear the end of it from the left. But that's racist of Trump, right? Anyway, the next group of people, the next criticism that they have against Trump, or lie being told against Trump, is he hate women, right? Because of the whole grab a vagina thing. And as I've said, as many have said, it's just nothing but locker room banter that he said that when he was recorded, unbeknownst to him, he was recorded in secret. And by the way, he wasn't the president of the United States anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And if he was the president of the United States, it's not illegal to say grab a vagina. And it's not like Trump, he again put ads in the paper and have commercials on TVs and billboards, saying hire those little advertisement van that drives around with the advertisement on it, grab a vagina. It's not like he has a van hooked up with speakers and stuff and have somebody driving around shouting grab a vagina. It is, even if he did, it's still not illegal. That doesn't mean he hates women because of that nonsense. And like I said, I've seen reports of the women that he dated, and I've never heard any woman he's ever dated that came out and said that Trump treats them bad. From what I'm hearing, he treats the women he dates very well. So, I mean, just because you say grab a vagina doesn't mean that you hate women. And if that's the case, how many men out there have said four words? Do they hate women? And what about women who say the vulgar things about men? Do they hate men? Of course not. So that's just idiotic nonsense. Again, Donald Trump does not hate women. They need to drop that nonsense. Now, the next lie told against Trump is, surprise, surprise, he hates somebody. That is, he hates Muslims. Mostly because of the quote-unquote alleged Muslim ban in 2017, last year. He put a ban on Muslims from certain countries for specific reasons, mostly because these were nations that were harbingers of Islamic extremists, and the ability to vet these people didn't exist. Being able to vet somebody is mostly has to do with the host country, the country they're coming from. How do they keep criminal records? Such like a social security number, or any type of records. Do these people keep any type of records? Something as simple as a birth certificate, or birth dates. They don't keep that. So it's almost impossible to vet people in those circumstances. And he was like, well, we're not going to let these people in here if we know that this is where a lot of Islamic extremists come from. And why would you want to? What fool in their right mind want to bring Islamic extremists who say of their own mouth they want to conquer the world? They want to go to other lands and they want to force Islam on everybody. Why would you want to bring that amongst you? It's hard enough dealing with the moderate Muslims, let alone the extremist Muslims. So why would you want to bring that amongst you? And then of all the Muslim population of the whole entire world, something like 12% of Muslims were impacted by that ban, which means that 88% of the rest of the Muslims weren't. So how exactly is that a Muslim ban when the overwhelming majority of the Muslim population of the world wasn't impacted by it? Again, just nonsense. The next lie that's being told against Trump is his rhetoric, quote unquote, is inciting white supremacists to be more active. Of course, nobody has any. I've never seen any evidence to prove this. I haven't seen any evidence to show that white supremacists are extremely more active today than they've ever been. I haven't seen it. And as a matter of fact, I mean, every damn thing is white supremacy, though. I mean, hell, they call just moderate Republicans, the conservatives are white supremacy. Everything on the right is white supremacy, and anything on the left is possibly a suspected white supremacy, of course. So what's not white supremacy, and what's not white supremacists being more active than before? Who's to say? But this is, like I said, it's just rhetorical nonsense. It's just more Murphy's law for you. Just looking for something to cry about. There's no evidence to prove that. There's no more evidence to show this than there's evidence to show that Barack Obama is responsible for blacks committing murders than more than ever before. Even though they were committing high rates of murders before Barack Obama, there's no more evidence to show that Barack Obama was responsible for the rhetoric from Black Lives Matter and the fact that Black Lives Matter is more active than ever before, or that Barack Obama is responsible for those 5 cops killed in Dallas. You can't say that his rhetoric led the guy to go kill the cops. So that's ridiculous and stupid. Again, no evidence whatsoever. Now we get now the last but not least, the last lie that's being that I'm going to cover anyway. But the next slide, the last one I'm going to cover that's being spoken against Trump is that "Make America Great Again" equals "Make America White Again." Again, with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. That's so stupid. It's almost not even worth talking about it. It's so dumb. But again, what evidence that show that making America great again means make it white again? Stupid. And by the way, all these black people who keep saying, well, America was never great for black people. Okay, then make America great. Meg, just drop the gun, just make America great. If you feel that America was never great for black people, well, guess what? It's going to be great for you if Trump gets through and he does everything he wants to. And I just find it hard to believe that if America becomes more prosperous economically, that is only going to benefit white people. That's how ignorant people are. The lies they just tell. I mean, if America becomes great prosperous, it's going to benefit all Americans. Right? And if you don't think it's going to benefit black people, just ask those black people in Gary, Indiana, when that steel mill opened, if it's not benefited them. But like I said, this whole "Make America Great Again" equals "Make America White Again." It's just bringing up Race Murphy's Law again. That's pretty much all it is. But like I said, these are pretty much the biggest lie that's being spoken against Trump. And it's not the only, and there's others out there. You have all these investigations that's the pathway to nowhere, like the Russian collusion delusion that they've been investigating for 2 years, and we still haven't seen a single shred of evidence, right? Now is campaign contribution. They want to impeach him over that, even though they didn't impeach Obama over campaign contribution. It's just stupid. But like I said, these are the biggest lies that's told against Trump. And the left, they just will never stop. They have no shame. They would just tell lie after lie after lie, and so on and so forth. But like I said, we have to expose these lies, because the more we expose them, the more we minimize them. But this is my list, my only list of the lies being spoken against Trump that I've heard, and I'm pretty sure there's more out there that's gonna be coming. But anyway, y'all. And as always, until next time. And I will cover any other lies. But until next time.